Bwaaa!
Bwaaa trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. Dad drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey there, welcome to Bwaaa, King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, we got a guest.
Yeah, we have a guest today.
Very special Friday guest.
A very special Friday guest.
Yep.
Dominique Lovins, a content creator from L.A. Also a candle maker.
I want to say her name in my best radio voice impression.
Okay, let's see it.
Dominique Lovings.
There you go.
How about that?
I like it.
Huh? You like that?
That was
Isn't
warm.
good?
It was warm. It was very warm.
Dominique,
That was
we
very
hear
warm.
you. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, welcome.
I am well. I am so excited to be here. This is like, you have no idea. Like, I am so excited.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we're
Thank
glad to
you.
have you. I'm glad that my shameless self-promoting on Twitter is actually it's actually working and paying off.
He is a shameless self-promoter. I know that. And
I do. I
that is
promote on
excellent.
OnlyFans, creator stuff. You know,
That's great.
I'll promote anywhere.
So, Dominique, let's talk about you just real quick before we
Yeah.
get into the King of the Hill talk. Tell us about
Okay.
you, where you live, what you do, and let's start talking about you.
Okay, so I am originally from St. Louis, so you get a little bit of the country twang.
I love it,
But I've
love it.
lived in St. Louis, LA for the past 12 years.
Okay.
So, I have a degree in broadcast journalism and public relations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I moved to LA to get into entertainment journalism,
Yeah.
but life has taken its many turns, and now I'm here.
Well, absolutely, I feel that way.
creating content. I have a candle line that I started during lockdown, and I also have a podcast called
Very cool.
Whiskey Soured Libations and Conversations.
Oh, I love that
Oh, that's
name.
awesome.
So,
Yeah, it's a great name.
Yeah, thank you. So just having a good time, cranking out episodes every week. I have a lot of guests every week. I have a rotating guest chair.
Mhm.
So we'll talk about, like different things. I've had a lot of comics on. We talk about their beginnings, and we allow the conversation to take over a libation. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've watched a couple episodes. I really liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very loud, outspoken, kind of funny. So
Dominique,
good
I
times.
always describe my wife. There's a lot of people that know her because she's in education, and so here locally, whenever they say, "Oh, yeah," and they're thinking about her, I say, "Oh, she's the really tall, loud, blonde woman," and so she's in your club.
Yes. I've come to figure out possibly that I am very loud because I just learned that I cannot hear.
How? Oh, no.
Like, I have-
Oh, okay.
So like there are certain things happening. So I was like, oh, maybe that's why I'm like always loud.
Yeah.
Never even crossed my mind.
Now it all makes sense.
So what do you mean you can't hear? Tell me about that.
So I've had sinus issues for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And I had been to one ENT. They took a candle up not a candle. Oh my God. I was just making candles. They took a camera up my nasal.
That's a great transition. Let's talk about candles up your nose.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They took a camera up my passageways
Mhm.
and I don't have a deviated septum. And so I'm like, but what's going on? And they were like, oh, you just have small like passageways. I'm like, okay. So I went to get a second opinion, and this place decided to do a hearing test.
Right.
And the lady came on in the middle of the hearing test and asked, "Hey, did you have hearing aids growing up?"
Oh, wow.
No.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, "I've been clicking the button and you haven't been pressing the button to let me know that you can hear." I'm like, "Oh my God."
Was it like that test they give you in elementary school where you have to raise your hand whenever you hear the beep?
Yeah. So, so you just get a button to click when every sound that you hear, and apparently I was really bad.
Yeah, couldn't hear shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Dominique. I think that there's like sirens going off around me all the time. I've got tinnitus so bad. But so what I did is I got into podcasting. I thought that was a good idea.
Okay. Well, here we are.
That's right.
I was like, I have to use this degree some sort of way. So here we are. I stepped into this world.
Yeah, I'm just trying to avoid having to do like an honest day's work again in my life. That's why I started podcasting. And so far, it's still dishonest work every day.
Yeah.
It's not getting me anywhere yet. But, you know,
through time.
Through all these connections and stuff, we've done really good. I'm not gonna lie, we've done really good for only being a podcast for 8 months. I think we've passed now. I think we just hit our 14,000 download mark for like the last 8 months. We've gotten over 14,000 downloads with like 1.6K unique listeners over the last like 3 weeks. So it's definitely moving in a great direction. So and it's just the marketing thing, really.
So Dominique, let's talk about your candles.
I'm really interested in your candles. So before we introduce your candles, I'm gonna go ahead and announce we're doing we're doing official sponsorship with the candles. And we're gonna get one each of her candles to try here on the podcast. So on our episodic content, at the beginning of our episodic content, as soon as we get the candles, guys, so bear with us. We're going to light one and describe the candle before we start every episode for however many candles the line has. I'm pretty excited.
I for one cannot wait for this room to smell better.
Yeah, I don't know. It smells very clinical. It feels like a clinic in here.
It is very clinical.
It's very clinical. Yeah. It's like oddly like sanitary.
It's like ghost scents of podcasters gone by. You know? I mean, like
it feels spooky.
Come through here. Okay, so let's talk about St. Angeles, your candle line. Tell me about these names, because they have some very specific names.
Yeah, so St. Angeles is actually my brand, right? So I used to go as like another name, and then as I was trying to, bridge certain gaps, you're like wanting to appeal to men and women. I'm like, this is a solid enough name where I can gain attention from, like both sexes, right? Mm-hmm. Or however you identify.
Sure.
And so under that, I was trying to, I've worked in sales my entire life, and I love candles, and I spend so much money on them. I was like, there has to be a way that I can create my own line. Yeah. And so initially I did it private label, meaning that pretty much I paid for it to be produced.
Sure.
I didn't have to do any of the shipping or anything like that. I went through a third party. Mm-hmm. So that was cool. And then I figured, hey, I could cut out the middleman and take all my profits.
That's it.
Myself.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I learned how to make candles myself. So that's how I got there. But the names under each candle has a different name. Mm-hmm. And it relates to France.
Right.
I'm super obsessed with Paris. I actually just went in April.
Oh, wow.
A Francophile.
Yeah, so I just went in April. It had been some years since I had gone previously. So I was just thinking of certain different places that I love in France. Mm-hmm. And like Republique is an area that I stayed in before with my sister. And so that's how I got the idea. And I was like, I want to pay, homage to like my favorite place in the world.
Yeah.
And that's how I got it. So I come up with different names. Like we have Moulin Rouge. It's that scent is very colorful. It has notes of like
Remember these
sea
words
salt and
when we're describing it. Colorful.
Colorful.
Yeah, remember these words.
Notes. Paris. Got it.
So yeah, that's how I came up with the brand. And like even St. Angeles. St. Angeles is I'm from St. Louis, so I feel like St. Louis is where I was born, but my soul was here in Los Angeles.
That's
so
cool.
I fused the two together. So there we go.
Yeah, that's a great name.
That's awesome.
That's a great name, especially.
Yeah, I like it.
Thank you.
I like anything like that has a story behind it, and so it
Yeah.
makes me, it just kind of makes me think, homey. People have a story, that sort of. It just feels better when it has something behind it.
And going back to our partnership, that's one of the things that me and Mike are really excited about with our podcast is the ability to have small businesses involved. Because it's one thing to have a national advertiser that everybody has.
Ballsy.
It's another thing to have local creators or even people who aren't local, just small businesses and content creators be a part of the show. And that's why we try to look for King of the Hill fans or even King of the Hill content creators and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just fun to me to be able to do this stuff. So I really, really, really enjoy it.
So
and,
Dominique, let's talk about your tie to King of the Hill.
That's what I'm most curious about.
Yeah.
I just want to say again, I appreciate you guys sending me the tweet, and I was so excited. It's no way, and I was telling my cousin, I was gonna hit her up, and I was like, we should have a rewatch because we talk about everything King of the Hill, and she even has a wind chime and shorts and all these different things.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
we had a Hank Hill as the cover of Kendrick Lamar's Damn album.
And
it says
about
Day. So and so when you hit me, I was like, we don't have to do this. They already have one. Let's listen to it.
That's wonderful.
So
That's awesome.
I am so excited to be here.
Yeah,
I literally love King
Well,
of the
what
Hill.
I do is I go to Twitter and I search King of the Hill for mentions, and every mention. And I'll sit there for an hour and do this, and I'll scroll down on every mention and let everybody know that there's a King of the Hill podcast. Because a lot of people are unaware of the fact that anything like this exists. Yeah. And some of the people that we've got that are fans have watched, there's a particular guy named Artie, shout out to Artie. He has watched and listened to every other King of the Hill podcast in existence. And didn't like any of them, and found his way to ours in this quest for King of the Hill content. So I don't know. It's just been really cool to be able to interact with people like you and fans of King of the Hill. It's a conversation I always love having because you see how universal the humor is once you start seeing the fan base. The fan base has really shocked me. More than any fan base, I think, for anything, because you think that a lot of Hank's fans are going to be, conservative guys, conservative males, but it's not. It's so broad. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
I see blue-haired leftists that love it, and then there's the red hat, white shirt MAGAs that are loving it too. It's just so huge of a range because it's such a universal show. So where does that universality bring you into King of the Hill?
Growing up, I grew up in the city. I'm from the west side of St. Louis. So we didn't have, my mom didn't believe in paying for cable.
Yeah.
So we had the seven channels. So, and we grew up watching The Simpsons. A lot of kids, in my age bracket growing up, were really shocked that my mom let us watch The Simpsons. Yeah. They were like, that's a very adult show.
Yeah.
It was funny to us. So, so before, The Simpsons would come on when the King of the Hill would come on, so it was that 6:30
You're in the central,
slot.
right? You're in the central time?
Yeah, I'm in central time. So it just, I don't know what happened. I just became obsessed with this show. And it was also, honestly, very relatable. Even now, looking back at the episodes, it's so many different things that have happened, even in my friendship circle, that I can say, oh my God, this is a King of the Hill episode. I tweeted last night, even Atlanta did an episode on FX where they're looking for the snipe. And
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like,
Yep, I saw that. Yeah.
yeah. And so I'm like, wow, this is really giving me King of the Hill vibes. So I don't know. That's just my life. Like everything.
That's
goes
awesome.
back to
Yeah, I was
King of the Hill.
scrolling through doing my shameless self promotion last night, and I saw that on there, and I was like, oh, okay, I already know this person, so I don't have to send it. And I do that sometimes. I had one person, they messaged me and were like, yeah, you sent this like 3 times to me. Can you please stop commenting about your podcast? I was like, oh, my bad.
No, did you listen to the podcast?
Yeah, did you listen to it? Did you listen to it?
So Dominique, I'm going to issue a challenge to you.
Okay.
I need a King of the Hill scented candle.
Oh my gosh, what does that have to smell like? I have just so
I don't
much
know.
pressure.
I don't know. Yeah.
know.
I just need before we get off this call, I just want you to be thinking about it. Let's
well, what we could do with that then is
brainstorm some ideas.
that could be our official partnership as a Bwaaa candle, and I think that would be cool. I think that'd be awesome if you just. I would love to see what the scent would be. Honestly,
Okay.
that would,
Okay.
like, what would it smell like?
It smells like a scooter.
Propane, like
No, God, no.
like propane.
No,
and
I would think of like
rare meat.
lemongrass.
Oh, lemongrass?
or
Okay.
Lemongrass and something like
All right.
maybe
Alamo
like,
Beer.
like okay, so maybe now I have a whiskey or
Yeah.
leather.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I used to have a scent called Whiskey Rue that was very, like masculine. So I would have to play around with it. But when I come up with it, I'll send it to
you let us
right
know.
away.
You let us know.
We'd be
Yeah.
excited to hear
I'm
about
not
it.
even going to let you know. I'm just going to send it.
Oh,
Okay,
I love
awesome.
that.
I like that too.
Sense
Yeah,
sense of Arlen.
Yeah,
The sense of
a
Arlen.
little bit of Arlen. Yeah.
That could be a whole line. The sense of Arlen.
That's
the
right.
sense from Arlen.
Yeah. Maybe do like a library book scent.
Yeah, and then you could do like a popcorn, like a movie theater or whatever, like the Arlen movie theater, like a popcorn smell,
Yeah.
or a steakhouse.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I don't know how in the hell you'd get a meat smell.
I know.
You could
how
do
I
to
don't
do
know. That could go. That could
like
be
smoked
really
meat, like a
great.
That could be
brisket.
gross. Yeah, that could
Like
be
a
pretty
brisket.
gross.
Yeah, like it would have to be. Now that would definitely have that leather in it.
Bwaaa tracks fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas.
So let's now talk about whiskey soured.
Okay.
Give me kind of the elevator pitch on this show, and then I want to just kind of talk about it.
Okay, whiskey sour pretty much, it's really that simple. It's libations and conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about different hot topics. One of the episodes we're talking about the homelessness, because it's an epidemic here in Los Angeles. And so I had a good friend of mine that come on, and we addressed a lot of the issues that have been happening statewide. I don't know if many people know, but they bust the homeless here from different parts of California and Arizona. So we were talking about that, how we could be, of help, creating housing places, situations for, the homeless to get them back on the feet, feet.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
one of the episodes. One of the
Well, that's the thing I don't understand is why they bust them out. I know it's warmer there, but you think it would. You think over time the cost of renovating and fixing up all these abandoned houses and all these abandoned buildings, because I know they're all over California because they're all leaving California and coming to Texas.
Yep, they sure are.
And they're gonna be in for a shock when they get out here and see these property taxes. But either way, they're all moving this way. So there's tons of stuff that's like. There's tons of, like, just in California itself, there's so much abandoned stuff that they could be renovating and fixing up and putting people in.
What's happening is the gentrification crisis.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of places, like you said, my brother is one of the people that packed up, but he is on the reboot of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh, wow.
And they moved to Austin because that's where the show films. But I know that
it's the new Hollywood right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in Austin.
Austin is very Hollywood, but I will say this: Austin has some really great food.
They do.
Yeah, they do. It's a great food city for sure. We're not that far from Austin. We're like
an hour.
Like an hour and a half up the street.
Okay, that's really dope. Okay, so Texas, I've been to Dallas a lot. I used to date a guy in Dallas. I actually have to go to Houston in a couple of weeks. But you guys are kind of like Europe there. Like, it's so easy and quick to get to different cities.
We could be in different big cities. Yeah, I think like 5 of the major or 3 of the top major cities in the United States are in Texas.
That's what people say all the time. You guys are like Europe.
Yeah.
You know, boy, if I had $1,
you'd be wealthy.
If I had a euro.
You're on your way. You know, you have this amazing podcast, so you're getting there.
So I want to ask you something just real quick. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But
oh no, you're okay.
I'm looking at your podcast, and you look fantastic on camera, by the way.
Thank you.
But I want to talk about one thing, and that is
what happened. Oh my God.
That is the buttocks behind you. When you sit there, there is a butt facing me. And
an anatomy.
So my sister-in-law got me a vase, and it is the bottom half of the female woman anatomy.
Yeah,
so
I saw that.
One side is that, and then the other side, it's the vajayjay, but it's covered with the flower.
Well, thank you for facing that part towards us. We appreciate that.
Well, you know, it reminds me of something you would find in an adult Bobby Hill's room.
That's true.
That's funny. No, so I will say that shelf in that in the shot is actually curated and designed by my big sister, Janelle, who is an amazing interior designer.
She did a great
job.
She
like put it all together with the photo and the pampas grass and my candles. So that's all my sister.
That's gorgeous. It's gorgeous stuff. Yeah. Hey, and I want to compliment you on your label design for the candles.
I'm going to give that credit back to my sister.
Well, again, it's just
you got a good sister. You got a great sister.
It's so simple and classy. You know, I mean, it's just it's very nice. Very nice job.
Thank you. I'm going to give all the credit to my sister because she's that amazing. So, shout out to Janelle.
I'm going to ask you, Janelle, I'm going to ask you one other question. How drunk have you gotten on this show before?
Oh, my God. We have gotten so drunk. So we have like the very first episode is we're talking about different relationship things or sexual kinks. So we talk about
y'all talk about whatever.
BDSM, pegging.
Excuse me, I just choked. I'm sorry.
Y'all talk about Peggy. We talk about Peggy too.
No.
Peggy. Sure.
Pegging.
Oh, Peggy.
Yeah.
Look at the time. It's been lovely talking to you.
Yeah. So, you know, like I said, like it's literally the concept of my show. Like I said, I want everybody to be able to come in, get a good laugh, sometimes walk away kind of like thinking about your life.
Yeah.
But for real, it's just us having a great time. And I have so many amazing guests that have come on, that have just been able to be so raw and real. And it's not the stereotypical, okay, how did you get into this? Or what is your next project? Or, you know, like, you know, like the basic journalistic questions that you see when you're interviewing your different, you know, celebrities.
We have kind of that issue here. And I think it's just a general podcasting issue that everybody wants to have a conversation about the local entrepreneurs or the local actors or business people or whatever. And it's a wonderful idea, but after a while, you know, I've heard
it gets redundant.
Yeah, I've heard that same guy's story 10 times, you know. And so I think it's great that you kind of break it down and try to smash some of those taboos and stuff.
Yeah, that is good.
You know, the cool thing is that I've always been able to like really speak in front of audiences and crowds, really even at a younger age.
Yeah.
And just being really relaxed and natural, I think sometimes that people overthink. And if you just go in, take a shot, have a few drinks, it takes that edge off.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely.
And you have and I used to model. I would take shots before I would do runway shows.
Oh no!
Changes the game.
Yeah, I'm sure the runway gets a little wobbly.
I am fierce. That is my.
I am fierce. There you go. I like that. I love that.
Yeah, I am fierce, and the runway is my oyster. So it's just like nothing.
That's wonderful.
But it's.
Well, I'm not a big drinker, but I have a 2016 single malt Islay that I would love to drink on your show. So if you ever need a guest, feel free to hit me up. I'd gladly come and talk about pegging. What else was it? BDSM.
Now, or how about we'll talk about Peggy, because my audience is very well aware of my undeniable.
So we could talk about pegging Hank.
I think
okay.
Peggy would want to be. I think she would be into that. Honestly,
I think
she
so
would
too.
Totally be into that.
I think she's the dominant one in the relationship period anyway. From my personal opinion.
She absolutely is the dom.
Because there's one episode where Hank is somebody's dying or something, I can't remember, and then all she could do is worry about somebody making a pass at Hank while somebody was dying. I can't remember what episode that was, but I remember she was so pissed at Hank that he didn't tell her that somebody made a pass at him while somebody was dying.
Or she was so upset that he didn't tell her that he had to dream about Nancy.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. So, Dominique, tell us just a couple more things, and then we'll let you go. But what's the end game here? What are you shooting for? You've got this great podcast. Looks like you got some great guests. You have this wonderful candle line. You've modeled in the past. You've got this journalism degree. What does all that add up to? Yeah, what does all that add up to?
Well, first of all, thank you. I'm just like you guys, really trying to beef up the streams, become independently owned and operated, where I am not clocking in and out every day. I have amazing friends that have very successful podcasting careers, and that is their bread and butter. And I would love to be in that lane as well. So, just pushing forward, engaging with people, being able to tell people stories, because at the end of the day, we all want to be able to relate to people and see the realness in a lot of the things that happen even behind the scenes when it comes to creating podcasting and content and everything. We're all more alike than we are different. So
that's definitely the truth.
Really what it's
about.
It
is the truth. The human condition is very relatable.
Yeah. So I want to be able to wake up every day and, create content in different avenues of my podcast. I was just actually thinking about creating a space for, I don't know if you guys watch Married at First Sight, but if you're not watching it, you should.
No,
you really should.
It's people that meet each other for the first time and get married right away, and they go and live their life together. It is pure chaos. They meet them at the altar.
Pure chaos. It's pure chaos. It's great television, and so I was like, I'm gonna do even a bonus episode where if you're fans of Married at First Sight, I have this space for you to come, and we can, talk about it, and let's go back and forth in the comments.
There's a lane for everybody for everything.
It's a lane for everybody.
Yeah, we never thought when we started off with King of the Hill. We originally started with a David Letterman podcast that had no views, and then we were like, all right, well let's see what else we could do. So we put out this King of the Hill product, and like I said, we've only been doing this, grassroots as possible, zero local support. Mike and his group here at the Rogue Media Network, they do the phenomenal job of editing and producing and making sure everything gets put out. We got producer Mason back here, our producer that does just a hell of a job. And I don't know, it's just been crazy to think that in 8 months we've been able to do what we do. But all it is engagement, and that's what I drive is engagement, and that's what I tell anybody that asks me for advice. Because there's people that have been doing podcasts for years now that have zero traction, and they're asking me well, what are you doing that's different than what I'm doing? I've been doing it all this time, and you've only been, you and Mike have only been doing this particular podcast for X amount of time. And all it is really, it is complete engagement. I talk to people that are fans of King of the Hill. Really, I write my podcast link. I'll write it on the receipts when I leave a restaurant. I have to sign a receipt. I'll leave it on there. It's completely
that is guerrilla marketing
and utterly shameless. I talk about, if I hear somebody in public mention the show King of the Hill, or if I hear the words King of the Hill, it don't even got to be King of the Hill. It could be, they could be talking about anything. And I'm like, oh, King of the Hill, you're a King of the Hill fan?
If
well,
they
I got a King of the Hill podcast.
say the words king or of or the, you
or
know,
Hill.
he's on.
I'm listening.
Yeah, he's on.
I'm listening in public. I mean, I don't see it as a pet project that I'm having fun doing. I'm having fun doing it, but I'm treating it like it's a
job.
It's something that it's something that I want to do. You know, because I'd rather do this all day than punching a time clock for somebody.
Well, you know, we talked about. I think Dominique brought up the fact that we're all more alike than we are different.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the guys that want us to punch that time clock are the ones that push that narrative.
Yeah.
You know, to keep us apart.
Yeah, they push it. They push it so heavily. The 9-to-5 narrative, they push it so heavily, and it's like, you know, and this is what I tell all employers: if you want loyalty, buy a dog.
Yeah,
because I'm here for a paycheck, not for loyalty.
Exactly. And I don't want to get any of your listeners or anybody that's listening wrong. Like, we're not knocking the 9-to-5 hustle.
We're not at all. Because I'm still attached to the 9-to-5 hustle. So I'm definitely not knocking it all. What this is showing you that you could do what we're doing if that's what you want to do, or whatever it is that you want to do. I'm 32 years old. I started a podcast last year at 31. So, or this year, you know, at the beginning of the year. So it's like, if you want to go do something, go do it. Don't wait, because now's the best time to go do it.
Yeah.
You know? Don't wait till tomorrow.
Wait.
Don't say, hey, well, I'll start it tomorrow. No, start it now. It's not hard, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm going to be very transparent. Like, I've had several podcasts in the past, and, you know, like, different things happen because I've had, you know, like, the same co-host, or like I had one with one of my best friends. I had one with my sister.
Yeah, it's tough.
And
it's
so,
hard. And
it gets tough. And it, you know, I had one with a group of girlfriends, and, you know, so it's literally about, like, staying the course, right? And I knew that I still wanted to do something, and I have been lagging on it. And even now, listening to you, I had a meeting where they wanted me to spend like $7,800, not $78, $7,800, which is closer to $10,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of
to
bread.
give me, and some of the advice that he gave me is literally what you said, like, hey, go do this and go on to people's posts, like, search certain keywords. What does your target audience look like?
Yeah,
you know,
well,
different things.
I need to know where I could, like, sign up for that job, because I've got tons of advice, and I've only been doing it 8 months, and I've got a lot of advice that I could give people.
I think
that's worked for me.
Dominique, I think that's like anything else. You know, you're always going to find those people out there that pretend to know how you can make your life better through whatever it is, right?
But you know what's even worse about that, though? You know what's even worse about that, Mike, is that there are people that will pay and listen to those people.
I get it.
That's the problem.
But what I'm saying is there's always going to be those snake oil salesmen out there, right?
Well, that's the way I see it, is if you put that guy on a street corner in raggedy clothes.
That's it. It's Statherton. Good job. Look at that. She pulled it all the way back.
Yeah,
Good job. Yeah, man. I just you know, the thing that I preach is consistency. You know, it's consistency. That's really all it is. If you can outlast everybody else, you win. I mean, that's just the way it works.
And right now, so like I did all the research for the King of the Hill podcast, like right as we were starting it, and everybody pretty much fell off. There's one that made it to around season 5, but the bulk of them made it to about season 3, and that's where they stopped about midway through season 3, because it's a trick.
It is.
You got to think, for season 2, we'll be in season 2 for 25 weeks.
Yep.
Or season 3, sorry. We just started season 3. So we'll be in season 3 for 25 weeks. Before we make it to season 4. That's like half of a year of podcasts.
Yeah.
So it's
that
uphill battle. It's hard for people.
It's Kevin on Stage said it best, and I don't know if anybody knows who he is, but he's an amazing content creator, comic. One of my best friends is on tour with him right now, but he developed his own app. He has a master class as well.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
So Kev said it that, you know, you would have to put out at least 100 episodes before really anybody starts to really kind of listen or pick up what you're doing. And he was like, half of the podcasts that we know don't make it past that. So it's like you being able to be consistent and push forward. And you guys have a cheat code. One, you have, you got searching King of the Hill everywhere and being able to penetrate those areas. But two, you have a template because you have episodes, whereas sometimes it's hard for people to, what am I going to talk about this week? I make episodes out of everything, like certain conversations. I had a girlfriend say, okay, so when are you going to call me to put me on so we can talk about it? I'm like, thank you, friend.
That's good. Yeah.
No, that's great.
You've conditioned your friends to be writers for your show.
They know. They are already aware. They know. Like the upcoming episode, I'm interviewing another comic / creator, and we were having a real honest conversation. And my messages based on a live that I was featured on, and he was saying, I don't think that the person was understanding because what I took away was this, and what he was saying. So we had a really open and honest conversation just about men and women really being able to communicate.
Yeah.
There's all these different avenues and conversations that are happening. Women don't listen. They're not accountable. And men are not, emotional. And we need this from you guys. And it's just like, why are we talking to other people about this and we're not talking to each other? Like, how are you just talking to men about this? And how are you just talking to women? How about we talk together?
Absolutely.
There's a show.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. I heard somewhere the national average on pod fade, which I love that term, just means you fade out of doing your podcast. The national average is 8 episodes. And so people will get through 8 episodes and then they'll go, well, I got something to do this week, or I'm going to take a break, or I'm going to do this. And it just doesn't work.
Hey, I'm guilty of it too. I started a podcast this year, another podcast this year I started too called Video Games Are for Losers, and it's kind of shelved. It's not dead, but it's a video game podcast, but also a men's mental health awareness kind of thing tied into it. So I get like people in the video game sphere, whether it be collectors or content creators or something like that. And then at the end of the show, after we talk about video games or whatever it is that they're like, content they create or whatever they're known for or whatever. And then at the very end, I asked them, I said, well, now that you've done all this in the video game world and you've made X amount of money, how do you feel about all the people that called you a loser for playing video games when you were a kid? So I kind of tied that in at the end. But, there's a lot of things that go on in life, and it's really hard to maintain the consistency that is needed to get a good following. And that's really what's helped me and Mike, is that me and him, no matter whether, he's had to go out of town for a weekend or I've had to miss a day or something like that, we've always came up with a way to mitigate that, potential disaster. So our very first one really wasn't that far into recording where we had to re-release the first episode. And that's what we were thinking, like, well, what do we do? And I was like, well, we just re-released the first episode.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah. And then we had another hiccup, and it was like, well, what do we do now? We had an interview with a TikTok guy that does all the Hank Hill raps, Hank Trill. Yeah. So we were like, we'll just re-release that one because that's a good one to market. It's an easy, freebie to market kind of thing. So
Dominique, I want to thank you for being here.
Yeah, so much. We appreciate it.
There is, and I wanted to say this, there is absolutely no shame in having started several projects and refining them to get to the one that you're supposed to do. I've probably done 12, 15 different shows, right? And at some point it's the reliability of others, or it's a consistency issue, or just life gets in the way, it just happens. And so this is where I'm supposed to be doing this show now. You are where you're supposed to be, making your candles, making your podcast, and we're going to support each other. And I can't thank you enough for being here.
I'm just happy that you guys gave me the opportunity. When I got the tweet, I was just like, oh my God. And literally I watch King of the Hill every day. Yeah. We talk about mental health. I have anxiety, suffer from depression from time to time, and they say one of the things that helps you is to watch something that how it's going to end. King of the Hill.
That makes total sense. That makes total sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And so
Makes me feel better when I watch it.
It was so right. And so I was telling my mom, we like to partake in things and have a great time. And I'm like, yo, you have to watch King of the Hill season 6, episode 1. And, Bobby goes to town. He has to eat the dirt, because he's getting punked by Payne Wasan and his posse, right? And, Hank is telling him that I can't always defend you. You need to go take a self-defense class. Mm-hmm. And it turns into this whole epic episode, which, Pamela Alden will go on to win an Emmy for voicing Bobby.
Yeah.
So it's just great. And
there's a lot of Emmy Award winners from that show. That show had a lot of different Emmys attached to it when it comes to writers, animation, direction, everything. It was really just a really well done show.
And I think what's really great about your podcast, you give us like tidbits that we might not have known. Like I didn't know that John Redcorn was initially voiced by the guy that played in Crazy Horse.
Oh yeah.
And then would change into someone else because he passed away.
Right.
And for a lot of that, I didn't like a lot of this stuff. I watch these episodes now. I watch one episode a week, but I watch it all week. So I watched the episode that that we talked about on our Monday episode. I've probably watched it, probably 3 times a day for the last 7 days, 6 days. So we get stuff out of it because of how much we have to watch.
And that's from a new book that Rusty's putting out called How to Be a Sociopath.
Yeah.
So that look for that on your shelves soon.
That's crazy.
Dominique, thank you so much for being here. And
thank you so much for having me.
I want to send everybody to SAINT-ANGELES.com, StAngeles.com.
That is official sponsor of the Bwaaa.
Yeah,
podcast.
Look at her beautiful and I'm assuming smelling great candles. And go buy a couple of candles. Support a small creator.
I have free shipping right now.
There you go. Free
shipping right now. And we will have a code for you guys eventually. Once everything's set up, she is going to set up a code. Yeah. That way we could track some measurables and stuff like that.
I wonder what it's going to be.
I wonder what it's going to be too.
Hey, also, I want to encourage anybody that's listening to go to youtube.com and look up St. Angeles, SAINTANGELES, and check out our podcast. Whiskey soured.
You can. So the quickest way to get to it, because I believe that is just my YouTube page. I think maybe, or you might know more than me. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Go for it.
But that might be my actual name. I think YouTube created like a space where you can do handles now.
They do. Yeah.
But so I can't remember if I changed mine yet, but if I did, great.
You did.
Okay,
yeah, it's St. Angeles.
Go.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's wonderful. Wonderful. Well, Dominique, thank you.
That's how you can find me. Yeah.
Thank you once again, and keep at the struggle there. And anytime you need guests, you hit us up.
Oh, I can't wait to have you on. It's going to be such a great time.
Cool.
Yeah, we can't wait.
All right,
you guys take care. Thank
Absolutely, you too.
Take
Thank you so much. You have a great afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, Rusty, that was fantastic.
That was great. Yeah, that was great.
She's out there hustling. She's making candles. She's a model. She's got broadcast journalism in her background. I mean,
she's our first official small business sponsorship. Yeah. So we're looking forward to talking about her candles and getting to try them out.
We're looking for all those people from St. Louis and Los Angeles. That's all we need. Just everyone in St. Louis and Los Angeles. That'll do. Yeah,
we'll take it.
We're trying to keep it small. So thank you guys for listening once again. Happy Friday. And Rusty, where can they find us?
They can find us at BWAAKOTH on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I've been, we've been killing it, Mike. We've been doing great.
So Twitter, tell me, dumpster fire right now or what?
Oh, it's great.
Really?
I wouldn't call it a dumpster fire. Everybody's in an uproar about all the Elon Musk stuff.
Yeah,
but I mean,
it's
just... I wouldn't call it a dumpster fire. Everybody's just whining and pissing and moaning that they're going to leave because he's changing a lot of the verification rules. So now you have to be like a notable figure to be verified. Well, he's going to turn it into an $8 subscription fee.
$8. Yep.
So you're going to have a lot of blue check marks, a lot of verified people that can now message these celebrities and stuff like that without having that wall in front of them. Because there's a, like to message a blue check on Twitter, a lot of the people you can't message because you
I
don't
will
have
not. I will not say I am a huge Elon Musk fan or anything because I just don't know enough about him. But
I don't really.
I will say that I think in this time and in history that any publicity is almost good publicity. So I think he is a master of that. So check us out online, and you can always get us at roguemedianetwork.com. And we thank you guys for listening.
Libations.
Libations.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast. Frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Mike.
And we have a fantastic new podcast to tell you about. Bros, Foes, and Heroes. It's the two of us looking into the world of comics, breaking down some characters that you may have never heard of, and some that are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so Zach comes up with a character each time, and I go into it just completely blind. I don't know who this person is or what their abilities are or anything, and basically I guess we kind of go over their origin story and just some of the ridiculous stuff that maybe, especially Golden Age stuff.
Oh, Golden Age stuff is always the best, and we will make sure to highlight all of the shenanigans and just absolute weirdness of everything.
Yeah, that's right. So subscribe today and follow us on Instagram at Bros, Foes, Heroes.
And if you don't, I know where you live. Not really, but please subscribe.
Frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Welcome to One Star Rewind, a new podcast about those dreaded one-star reviews that every business owner hates to receive, but yet every customer loves to read. During this podcast, we will peel back that one-star review to better understand how it happened, when it happened, and what the business owner is doing after receiving that one-star review. This podcast will be about love, hate, and laughter. On One Star Rewind, we will meet with real business owners who will tell their stories and how they do rely on reviews for their business. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or download us at roguemedianetwork.com. Please subscribe, but only rate and review for not a one-star review. Join us each time for a new review and a new story.